In the final primetime matchup of the 2024 season, the Dallas Cowboys take down the leaders in the NFC South, 26-24, the final score from AT&T Stadium. Week 16 belongs to the Cowboys as they get it done. A late strip from Deron Bland forces the fumble. He recovers it himself, and the Cowboys end up on top, taking down the Bucs at home. Alongside Isaiah Stanback, Nicole Hutchison, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. This is the First Word presented by Dr. Pepper. And Isaiah, I'll start with you. It wasn't pretty the whole time through, but the Cowboys executed offense, defense, special teams. They got it done, put themselves in position to try and hold off a late charge from the Bucs.
Yeah, they got up early. That's one of the things that was important for tonight's game. They was able to establish a couple score lead, and from that, you were able to take Tampa Bay out of their game plan offensively. They wanted to try to get in a position where they can run the ball, have an equal, we talked about in the pregame show, having an equally balanced type of offense. And what you were able to do by getting up early was you were able to take that running element out of it. And then Coach Zimmer was able to let the dogs loose by going out there and putting a lot of pressure on Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, defensively, of course, you talk about Mike Zimmer being able to get those guys out of their game plan, but you have to give credit to this offense as well. I mean, they were tested big time. Obviously, the run game has improved the last couple of weeks. Weren't able to get it going too much, but it did just enough in order to open up the passing game. You saw Cooper Rush play with a lot of confidence. You love to see that. CeeDee Lamb doing some good things. So offensively, I've got to give Mike McCarthy certainly a bag today because he was in his bag.
Yeah, I think the offense did enough in the first half to maintain, and the defense just was steady all the way through. I looked at all the stats and tried to find something that was in favor of the Cowboys. No turnovers. Cooper Rush and the gang, they held on to the ball. They didn't do anything to hurt their team, and it was just a good, gritty, hard win. It just goes along with all the rest of the wins. Just fight, and they were champions tonight.
And that's the thing is the Cowboys have now won 4 of their last 5. They continue to stack good performances, and really they're 1 or 2 plays away from being above 500 and still contending for a playoff spot. Of course, we know the reality is because of Washington's win over Philadelphia today, they are eliminated from playoff contention. But, Isaiah, you can feel the energy as these guys walk back into the locker room behind us. This doesn't feel like a team that just got eliminated from playoff contention today. They went out, wanted to make a statement, and they did so in front of the NFL on prime time on Sunday Night Football. And you could see that early, that energy working into the lead that they were able to build in the first half.
Yeah, they were able to play the Grinch a couple days before Christmas. And that's the fun thing about this is you have an opportunity to go out and play another game. And no matter what the outcome may be in terms of your ability to go to the postseason, you're still going out there and you're playing with your boys, you're playing with your friends. You're going out there trying to put good tape out there to help yourself in your bid for a better contract and extension in whatever regard you might have in this league. But, these guys went out there and took care of business. They've been executing every week. There's been elements of their game that they've been checking the box on every single week. We talked early in the season about their inability to create turnovers. Well, they checked that box. Their inability to get pressure on quarterbacks. Well, they got that box checked. Offensively, did you have big splash plays? Well, they had a number of those. So things that haven't been getting done early in the season are now starting to come to fruition. It's unfortunate that it's not going to pay dirt in terms of them going to the postseason, but you can still build momentum and try to save your job and possibly your coach's job.
Can we also give it up to the fans, too, because they did such a great job at just keeping this place electrifying. But, no, I mean, we talked a little bit about it last week and just about, these guys are now playing for the names on the back of their jerseys, right? You don't know who will be here next year, so certainly a task for them. But when you talk about just the way that they fought, it's not easy having to come out here and knowing a couple hours before that you may not be playing or you're not playing in the playoffs. And so pretty much leaning on each other, coming out there and fighting, it's super impressive.
I just think what you guys said, Donovan Wilson, 4 weeks ago, what is he doing? I mean, he can't play the box. He can't cover anybody. He's in the box where he belongs. He's covering people better. And I'm looking at your guy, Mozzie, man.
Yeah.
He making some plays. I mean, he's holding up in there, making things happen, letting the linebackers flow. So guys got a lot to play for, and they're pulling themselves together, man. Like you say, Coach McCarthy, man, whatever he's saying, whatever he's doing, whatever those assistants are saying and doing, it's working because these guys, they fired up and they hyped up.
That's a team that's winning their division right now in the NFC that you just beat. Yeah. Just keep that in mind. Now they're tied with Atlanta because you ended up beating them in prime time. So that's a quality win. But you mentioned the guys up front freeing up the linebackers. We learned pregame that Eric Hendricks was inactive for the first time this second time this season, but first time in quite some time. you're missing both of your starters at linebacker. DeMarvion Overshown, of course, a couple weeks ago. Eric Hendricks at linebacker. Nick Vigil, Maris Leofau. It seemed like every play, 35 or 41, was in the backfield or making a play on the ball. I mean, that just shows experience versus rookie. It doesn't matter, even in a season like this where things don't go your way, you can still have guys step up and play a big role in last-minute notice. Both of those guys did a phenomenal job today patrolling that second level.
Absolutely, and this is just an understanding of what your assignments are defensively. I think this entire defense understands what it means to play complementary ball when you're playing next to each other. We heard early in training camp about trying not to play hero ball, right? Just do your job, do what's being asked of you. And you're starting to see all those things come together late in the season. Everybody keeps talking about, oh, Coach Zimmer is finally figuring it out. Is he just now figuring it out, or is it just that the players are just now figuring it out, and he's actually has access to some of these guys? They're believing in the system, and when you believe in the system, you're allowed to do what you're asked to do, and then that frees up the actual scheme to be successful.
When you believe in the system, you're then able to do different things within the system. That's something that Mike Zimmer's obviously learning about his guys. But I'd actually talked to Chauncey Golston earlier this week about, of course, Micah Parsons is helping you guys improve, and the play obviously is improved because of Micah Parsons, but it's also the communication for sure within that defensive line. You're seeing guys pick up the slack or just knowing the tendencies of those guys. So I love the way that the defensive line for sure is playing.
I tell you what, just the veteran players have done what they needed to do early in the season. They'll fill the void and taught these young guys the discipline of the defense and understand. That's why we brought in Kendricks. I mean, that's why they brought in Kendricks, so he can teach these guys the defense, and now they know it a little bit better. Now, Mozzie, I'm telling you, when your inside guys like Mozzie and Osa are playing well, it just permeates through the whole defense, and that I think that has been the big deal the last few games. Is Osa showed up to play. Mozzie is getting better. Other guys are playing. Golston, he's continued to play. So when you see that right there, and I'm always talking about the interior. When you got the three guys inside, offensively playing well, the offense go well. When you got three guys inside, defensively playing well, same with the defense. It allows the outside to play well. So these guys are getting better, and they beat a good team. They beat a solid team today.
That's the thing, is there's a lot to build on here. Now, we talked about it in pregame. You talked about it for the most part. This is a team that, of course, was eliminated from playoff contention today, but you still have 2 more games where you can play spoiler.
Yes, sir.
You've got on the road at Philadelphia coming up this week.
Love it.
That's an opportunity to go and beat your division rival in their home stadium and present a sweep, possibly. That's a team that played really well against you earlier in the season. Then you come back here. One more chance at AT&T Stadium to welcome in Dan Quinn. What do you want to see from these guys to build on this, despite some of the injuries, despite some of the guys that are banged up, and continue to build on a 4-game streak or 5-game span where you've won 4 games?
Just continue execution, the things that are leading them to victory right now. We're sitting here talking about all the positive things that took place today. In all 3 facets of the game.
Yeah.
We didn't even get to Brandon Aubrey and how amazing he was for the special teams unit. We didn't talk much about the offense and Cooper Rush, how he was able to come through on some big plays, some big throws. All these things are coming together, so you just want to see that momentum continue to build. You're not looking for any hero ball. Again, nothing crazy out of any one particular player. You just want to see guys continue to get better week by week, and you see this team become more and more cohesive.
Yeah, for sure. Can't even say it better than what Isaiah just said. But no, continue to build off what you've just put on display today. Cooper Rush specifically. You're seeing the efficiency improve a little bit better. Not perfect, but certainly improved. You're seeing the connections with his receivers as well improve as well. So I think you just got to continue doing what you're doing today and build off of it.
Yeah, 5 penalties, 30-some yards, I think.
Yeah.
Now, I could be wrong on that, but the penalties have been cut down. Guys are playing better on the offensive line, and we had a few missteps there earlier, but overall, man, to slow down Vita Vea, that's a beast in his own right. And we didn't hear a lot about Levante Davis today, so the offensive line kind of held theirs in the middle. I'm not saying they did a great job because Vita Vea is hard to stop, but hey, they played well.
And you could say the same thing about Bucky Irving. You could say the same thing about Mike Evans. You could say the same thing about Cade Otton. Really the big-name guys from this team did not have the same level of game that they're anticipating. Now, they gave a charge late And it got dicey there at the end, but you made the plays necessary to get the job done. The Cowboys win it here in Week 16 on Sunday Night Football. We leave you with some of the final stats brought to you by Miller Lite. 26-24 the final from AT&T Stadium. We've got Cowboys game night coming your way momentarily. We'll hear from Mike McCarthy. We'll hear from Cooper Rush. Give you some highlights and post-game reaction after the Cowboys win here in Arlington.